Hey. Ja. Ja, man. Ja, wat is dat zo'n? Oh, dit. Ik denk dat hij ontstoken is, man.
Kraakbeen, waarschijnlijk.
Anders gaat het niet de hele tijd zo knap. Someone check the stream. Shalom, shalom. Okay, the stream is good, man.
Gone, shalom. We're the Hebrew Israelites coming back week in and week out to prophesy the downfall of this wicked kingdom. But before we start, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto
Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham, Rakakadash.
Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Milso for teaching this truth and who rule well. Peace and citations unto the Akim that is spread around the four corners of the earth, spreading this word in sincerity and in truth. Shalom. Gone, yeah, man. So we're back in this wicked kingdom another week, and one of the miracles of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is in full effect, man. And that miracle is that our people are waking up to who they really are. You know, they are waking, like what was it, 2 weeks ago or a week ago, I saw people are coming here from all across the country just to go to this Twaku festival. So people see us that normally don't see us. So we have this woman, she walked past and she was looking at us and she's like, hey, you're Hebrews? You Hebrew Israelites? And they were like, yeah. You know, so people are here. Yeah, that one. So people know about us, they hear about us, they hear about the truth. Like it says in the Matthew 24, you know, if you could grab that.
And then she said, and then the brother asked her, you Hebrew Israelite too? She said, no, I'm just black.
No,
I'm just black. Yeah, you're void of light. There is no light in you, man. You see?
So that's the wrong answer. Wrong.
She messed up.
This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come.
Yeah, man. So this gospel, which the word gospel goes into good news, and the good news is for the Israelites, because the Israelites are a spoiled nation. You know. Can you get me Nahum 3 and 1? Because the Israelites, they're a spoiled nation. They're continually the prey. You know, they're continually at the bottom. But now, you know, Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, he's doing his marvelous work and he's bringing us back into the.
I knew it was not a good idea. I was actually waiting for one of y'all to say, that's not a good idea. And I was thinking about, I would say if one of y'all would do this, I would tell y'all that's not a good idea. Think, man.
So take your own advice.
I was like, yeah, but I just still want to try.
Yeah, man. So this good news is, the gospel is the good news, which means that we are not going to be at the bottom anymore, but we're going to go to the top. We're not going to be the tail anymore. If you give me that in Deuteronomy 28. Those are your because 28, was it 40 something?
Dat hij niet moet lezen. Je moet ook meer precepts gaan pakken. Dus als hij vraagt om een scripture aan hem, dan moet jij naar die scripture gaan en dan kan je kijken welke precepts je hebt. Dan kan jij die precepts geven. GMS Paramaribo. Oh shit. That's a new channel. Probably just a new channel.
Backup channel, baby.
Backup channel. Shalom Makim Yahweh Bashim Yashai Bashim Kakadash Bakatam. Paramaribo.
This is Jeremiah
Sa'ab.
chapter 2
Shalom, Sa'ab.
and verse 14. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled?
Yeah, man. So continually we are spoiled. Continually we are raped, robbed, and murdered. You know, we are brought low. And that's what Esau Edom, he has been put in this situation where he can do that to us. You know, he's that ruler. He's the Assyrian, the modern day Assyrian. Can you get that in Isaiah 10? Give me the other precept that you have. Deuteronomy
It's Deuteronomy chapter 28 at verse 47.
44.
Verse 44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
Yeah, man. So that's what happened to us. You know, we have been brought low. We didn't listen to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai when he said, "You have to do my commandments, and it shall go well with you." You know, we didn't do this with gladness of heart. So we went off, and we became the tail. And Esau is now the head. You know, he's the one that's lending to us, and we are not lending to him. We have to go to his bankers and to his places where we can get a permit to do something. You see?
This is 2nd Esdras chapter 6 and verse 57. And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us.
Yeah, man. So these heathen, if you go into that word heathen, which in the Hebrew is gawayam, which means other nations. You know, the Most High didn't choose these nations. The Most High chose us. So the Most High, he chose us as a nation to bring close to himself. But now, these heathen that have been reproved as nothing, like unto spittle, they are rulers over us right now. They are above us, you know, and we are the tail. We are spoiled. We are that prey. You see?
Verse 58. But we thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure?
See, so all the prophets were mourning. All the prophets were like, how long will this endure? How long are we going to be the prey? How long are we going to be on the bottom? You know, every single prophet until now, we ourselves, we are servants of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and we are also crying to the Lord from like, okay, how long is this going to take? We want this place to end right now, because continually these heathens, they are above us. They are telling us what to do, what we can't do, you know, and we walk in fear. You see, and that's also one of the curses that the Most High put up upon us. You see,
Deuteronomy verse 7 and 8 and 9.
This is Baruch chapter 2, starting in verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves.
yeah, man, so that's the good news. We are remembering ourselves. We are remembering who Yahweh is, and now we are, through Yahweh Shai, we have access to Yahweh again. You know, that's why we always say Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, which Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, Bahashem is in the name, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the person that everybody ignorantly calls Jesus. So now we have access again to the kingdom. You know, we have access to the gospel, through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. That's why I want to go actually into Ezekiel 37 after this.
Psalm, because the brother was talking about the heathens being on top of us. Because the brother was talking about the heathens that being on top of us right now. This Psalm chapter 2 and verse 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us.
Yeah, man. So the heathens, they rage, and they think that they can have this kingdom under their rulership forever. That's what the main thing is, that they want to be on top continually. No, man, the Most High, he's a jealous power, but he's also a power that is in balance. You know, so he gave all these nations time to rule, time period to rule. But actually, now you can jump to the second difference where this is the last captivity of ours. You know, he gave all these nations a time period to rule. But we are in that age where in the Second Testament, you know, in the New Testament, it's speaking about in the last days, you know, and the last days is now. That's that age that we're living in right now, where Esau is in rulership. You see? Because when Yahushua came on the scene, the Romans were in rulership, and now we're still under their rulership. The Roman revived rulership, which is Esau, Edom's rulership. You see? So in the last days, then the kingdom is going to come. You know, perilous times is going to come. You know, the gospel of this truth should be spread around the four corners of the earth so that the end can come, so that this age can be shut down and the new age comes where Jacob is going to be in rulership. You see? We have it,
Yeah. You said that she was talking about Esau.
Can you give me the Isaiah 10?
This is Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 5. O Assyrian, the rod of my anger, and the staff in their hand is my indignation.
God, so this goes hand in hand with what the brother was reading. You know, the brother was reading that these nations, they make up a tumult. They want to have the rulership of this earth forever. So now, the Most High says, O Syrian, you know, you are the rod of my indignation, which in that time, this speaking of it's double-fold, because in the time of the Assyrians were the nation that the Most High chose to correct the nation of Israel. But in this day and age, who's the modern day Assyrian? The modern day ruler? The modern day ruler is Esau, so a white man. So that is the whipping stick, that nation is the whipping stick of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. You can get that also in Psalms, look at that 47. Men are healed and that's it.
Yeah, this is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except the come of falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
Jeremiah 17:4.
This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except the come of falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
Yeah, man, so there should come falling away first, and that falling away, that represents the falling away of our nation, that there's going to be a split up. The northern kingdom is not going to know who they are, and the southern kingdom is not going to know who they are. So that was supposed to happen first, because at this time they knew that. But now, the Most High had made it to a point that we forgot completely who we were, you know? So that had to happen first, and then the man of perdition, which perdition goes into destruction. The man of perdition is going to be revealed, the destroyer of the earth. And who's the destroyer of the earth? Is that us? Are we the ones that making up the rules and regulations in this world? No, man, it's a so-called white man. He's the authority, and then he has no authority but the authority that the Most High gave him. The Most High gave him a certain time period to rule, and after this is done, then he's going to be made a base man again, because he is a base man. You know?
Can I get on to what we're saying? Because in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, it speaks about how before the second coming of Yahushua, these things will be revealed and that these will happen. So prior to Yahushua coming back, it will be made known upon the earth who are the Edomites and their biblical nationality and things like that, who they are. See? I had the second verse for you. This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 6, starting at verse 7. Then answered I and said, what should be the parting asunder of the times, or when should be the end of the first, and the beginning of it the following? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it the following.
Yeah, man, so Ezra, he was asking when is going to be the separation of the time that Esau is going to rule and the time that we are going to rule. So, like when Esau was born, Jacob held his heel. That's how the transition is also going to be. From Esau's rulership the transition is going to be to Jacob. And we are living in that transitional phase right now. You see that Esau, his kingdom is crumbling. You see he's being made bare. All his secrets are being made known. You know, their own tongue is falling upon themselves. You see? So Satan is now fighting against Satan, and his kingdom is crumbling them. So that's what the scripture says. Was it in Luke 12, I believe? If Satan fights against Satan, how can his kingdom stand? But yeah, that's a scripture, so roughly paraphrasing.
Can we read verse 10?
Yeah.
And it says in verse 10, the hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other questions Ezra asked them not. This represents the time that these heathens were allowed to rule by the Heavenly Father before Esau came into rulership, and us eventually pulling him down out of rulership, and our kingdom being established upon his earth.
Yeah.
I had Ezekiel and I had Jeremiah 17.
Jeremiah 17.
Let me get this. This is Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever.
See, so it's the Most High that made us to forget who we were. He took his name away from us because he knew if he would leave his name in the midst of us, then we would cry out to him. So the Most High, he's like, okay, I'm going to let you forget completely who you are, and then in the end, you know, when the measure is met according to the Most High's timetable, he is going to let us remember again who we are. You know, he's going to bring back Abba Bivens, and he's going to bring the remembrance back. You don't have to say it. Yeah.
This is Matthew chapter 12 and verse. Yeah. This Matthew chapter 12 and verse 26. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand?
Yeah, man, and that's that time period that we're living in right now. Satan is divided against Satan. Why are we saying that? Because you have the physical counterpart of Satan, which is the so-called white man. You know, he's a Satan worshiping man. He, on the one hand, he's America, he's ruling in America, and on the other hand, he's also ruling in Russia. But these two, they don't like each other, but they are the same nation. You know, so the Most High is going to use Russia to bring judgment onto America, because America is actually that great war. You know, Babylon the Great, who is bringing their philosophies all over this earth and is making all these nations to be drunken with that. You see? But Satan is divided against Satan. All these other nations here in the NATO also, a bunch of them are just Edomites, but they can't stick together. They have to fight each other. You know, it's the spirit of the Most High that's working within them. You know, that they are against each other.
This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, starting at verse 8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, without power and signs and lying wonders.
Yeah, man, beautiful, man. That shows you that the Most High, through his words, actually is also devouring and crumbling this place. Because this place, since the truth came out, is been in a downward spiral since 1970. You know, since after the Second World War. So when the spirit of the Most High entered into the prophets and they started to speak this word into existence, that's when the crumbling of the society began. Okay, read again.
This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, starting at verse 8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth.
Yeah, so Esau is now being revealed, but how? By bringing out the truth about Esau. You know, the things that he doesn't tell in his history classes and history lessons. You know, by secular history, we are revealing who this man is, that he is the devil, that the Bible is speaking about. Because if you go into that word devil, it means diablos, which is a false accuser and a calumniator and a liar. And that's what this man is. These are the characteristics of that man. He's a liar.
And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, without power and signs and lying wonders.
See, lying wonders. And who's coming is after Satan. So he worships Satan. He is the physical counterpart of Satan here upon earth. He does the bidding of Satan. Can you get Ezekiel 34 and 22?
This Ezekiel chapter 34 and verse 22. Therefore, when I save my flock, and they shall no more be a prey, and I will judge between cattle and cattle.
Yeah, man, so that's what the Most High is going to do. He's going to save his flock, which are the Israelites. You see? The elect, actually, because you have not all that are of Israel are of Israel. You know, there's a certain portion that the Most High wants. You have the 1/3 and the elect. So the prey shall no more, and they shall no more be a prey. Like we are going into, we are constantly spoiled. We are spoiled people. You know, we are found in, I don't know if you can grab that, that we are found in the jailhouses and in the prisons. You know, that's where the Most High put us. The Most High put us lower than all these other nations so that we can cry to the Most High. That's what He wants. He wants us to cry to the to Him. Wait a second. Give me the, what did you have? Name 301.
This Nahum chapter 3 and verse 1. Woe to the bloody city, it is all full of lies and robbery.
Woe to the bloody city. Woe means destruction. And who is that bloody city? If you read on down, it's going to tell you that there's Mystery Babylon. That is Babylon the Great. That's America. So that's that king, that country that is built upon blood and upon lies, blood of the Native Americans. What was that number again of the Native Americans that were killed?
Well, there were about 600 million Native Americans in America prior to the coming of these the cavalry, and you know, right now there's like I think maybe a million, couple of million left, maybe less. So that shows you the amount of basically genocide that took place.
Yeah, man. So that city, that country, America, is built and established on blood, and the Most High, He's going to require that blood of that country, man. It's established on blood and lies, like we were going into. That Esau's a liar, he comes with a lying tongue. You know, that's how he came to the natives. You know, if you can get that scripture in Psalms, that is words were smooth in their blood. So read again from chapter 12.
Woe to the bloody city, it is all full of lies and robbery. The prey, the
robbery, because they stole that land. That wasn't their land. That was the Native Americans, their land, who are the northern tribers, the northern tribes of Israel. You know, they went there after the Assyrian captivity. You know, so now what's this guy's name again? Columbus. He wanted to go to India, but he didn't know how to, you know, maneuver to go to India. So he went to America, and there he saw people. No, he went to the Caribbean first. That's where he said he saw the West Indies, you know. And then afterwards he came to America, and there he saw these Native Americans, which are the northern tribers. What was the first thing he did? He slaughtered them. No. He made peace with them, actually. He wanted their knowledge, he wanted their land, and the Native Americans, they gave him a portion of land, like, hey, Esau, you're a stranger here, but this is the part where you can dwell. And what did he do? He took that, and then he took their knowledge also, and he took the land, and he started to rape, rob, and murder them. That's why it says the Woe to the bloody city is full of lies and robbery. So they stole that land. You have it's Psalms 55, 21.
This is Psalms chapter 55 and verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, if were they drawn swords.
Yeah, man. So His words were smoother than butter, so he came with smooth and subtle words, just like how a serpent does, because he is that serpent reincarnated in this man, in the so-called white man. Bring this here a bit. Oh, gotta get a new tripod, man. Go, door.
Is hij nog goed?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, man. So the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. Yeah, so he comes with that subtle tongue, smooth. You know, you wouldn't suspect him of doing evil. You know. And then when he establishes a connection with you or a contract or whatnot, then he sends in the cavalry. That's the same thing that he does with these politicians also. He comes, he makes a contract, he makes a deal, and then he sends in missionaries, you know, to sabotage all these pipelines or whatnot, you know. That's why if you go into that word, what was it, Tubal Cain, it means traveling spirit. You know, he comes with those tactics, those war tactics. He makes a deal with you, but when everybody's asleep at night, then he sends in these missionaries to destroy. And he's like, oh yeah, the contract is now void, but I need my portion. You know, I need the portion that you promised or whatnot. Or we have to make a deal. We got to put you in debt so that you can pay me. Certain things like that. You know, that's how he comes. He comes smooth, but then war is in his heart. Oil, yet where they wore on shorts. Yeah, man. So when he comes in a speech, he's soft, but still underneath all of that, he has drawn swords. He wants to stab you and take your place.
Ulterior motive.
Yeah, ulterior motive. Yeah.
This is Sirach chapter 12, starting at verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him.
Yeah, so that's how he comes. He humbles himself. He comes in a suit and tie. He comes all not, how do you call it, not threatening. That's how he comes over. But when he has a chance, he's gonna stab you in the back, man. Yeah.
And beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away.
Yeah, man, and that rust that represents that wickedness. That wickedness is not gonna go. It's like rust is gonna stay there. You know, rust is something that doesn't come off real easy.
Even if you wipe it away, it still comes back.
It's like almost like a mold. You know, you gotta thoroughly clean it before it's cleansed. So he is prone to do wicked. So it's just a matter of time that he's going to show his teeth and show you that he is the wicked that the Bible speaks of.
Think about how you said you got to thoroughly clean it, but the only way to get rid of, this rust is by completely annihilating easily.
Yeah, cleansing it with fire.
I had a description Amos talk about how that's separating the good from the bad.
In that he's going to take your place.
This is Sirach 12, verse 12. Set him not by thee, lest when he had overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou hast at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith.
You see, so what did he do with the Native Americans? He sat with them on the table, rubbing elbows. What did he do? He gave them blankets with pox and all kind of diseases. He terminated all of them, with illness and with manslaughter. And then what did he do? He put himself like the Native Americans. He started to whitewash the Native Americans, because the Native Americans are dark-skinned people also. But people, if you talk about a Native American, you're gonna think about a light-skinned man. And not even with curly hair, but with straight hair. So he put himself in the stead. You see, also with all these movies, the Egyptians, he's the Egyptian, the Last Samurai, he's a Moabite, which I think that Last Samurai is, a Jacob descendant, but he is continually putting himself in there. Yeah.
can I say something? Because you also had the $5 Indian, by which these these so-called white people were able to on paper call themselves Native Americans. Meanwhile, they are not, but they were able to reap the benefits of being a so-called Native American. See, also jumping into their stat of being a Native American. Meanwhile, you go back to Esau, man, and you still have those among our people, man. Like as it says in
Matthew 25 with the
tares and the wheat, man.
Yeah.
Now they might look like Gadites or Reubenites, but eventually, man, these people go back to Esau, and time will tell, man, what they are.
Yeah, that's why in that parable it says you have to wait until the angels come, because the angels are gonna judge the spirit. Like, oh no, you are the tare, so you have to burn in the nuclear fire. Okay, you are the wheat, so you have to be brought in the chariot. So we don't have that discernment right now, because we don't know how our lineage goes. Even in the day of Nehemiah, I think it was already difficult to show that your lineage was going to the priesthood. So how much more now? We just read that the Most High was going to take away our heritage, so we don't know who's who. But through the Spirit itself bears witness that we are the children of the Most High. So the Spirit is going to tell us, like, hey, you belong to this fold, but you don't know which tribe, you don't know your lineage. But in the time when destruction is going to come, that's when the true separation is going to be made.
It's the only way that we're able to tell whether that person is an Israelite is if he comes to the camps, he listens, and eventually he's also getting in tune with his son. Yep. This scripture is also used as a bait. Luring the people, whether they're good or bad fish, throw them out if they're bad fish.
Yep.
Amos 9 verse 9. This is Amos chapter 9 verse 9. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like a scorn is sifted in a sieve.
All nations. We started off with Matthew 24. The gospel of the kingdom has to be spread across all nations, across the whole world. Why? Because we are spread among the whole world. We are amongst all these nations. So the Most High is sifting us right now, and not one least grain is gonna fall on the earth. That means none of the elect is gonna be not gonna make it. All of this is for the elect's sake. The elect has to make it through these times. Even the earth is spinning faster because it's the Most High's will, and it's because of the elect's sake. The Most High is doing all these things to bring in the fold that has to be brought in.
Like a scorn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth.
Yeah, man. So none of the elect is gonna be left behind, man. The Most High is sifting Israel right now, and it's all for the elect's sake. Any precepts that you have, and then go back to the name. No.
It's Exodus 21 at verse 16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death.
Yeah, man. So he steals a man. So basically you rob a man of his life, of his normal life. So that's what they did in America. That's what Esau Edom does. That's one of his traits. Put people in slavery, put people in debt. You see? So the law says if you steal a man and he be found in your hand, blood is going to be required. So that's what's going to be required in the end. That's why the Most High, he's going to use this to bring forth his judgment upon America. Like we were going into, America is a country built upon lies and upon robbery and upon blood. So the Most High requires that blood of that nation that did that, which is the so-called white man.
This is Nahum chapter 3 and verse 1. Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departed not.
Like we just read in was it Ezekiel 34 and 22. We are the flock of the Most High, and we are continually a prey. And the Most High made us a prey. You see? That's why we are a strong nation. We are a strong people. They can put us in captivity, but they can't really completely break us down. We are destructured, but we are still here. You see? But the Most High made us so low that we would forget who we are, but in the end, He would wake us up again. Was that finished? The name? Was it finished?
This is Isaiah chapter 42 and verse 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled.
Robbed and spoiled. Perfect precept on Nahum 3. You know, we are that nation that the Most High put as a prey. That all these other nations that are round about us, they cheer that they have us in captivity. They cheer that they have us in slavery. Revelation 11.
Finish the Isaiah first or go to Revelation?
Give me the Revelation.
This is Revelation chapter 11 and starting at verse 9. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves.
Yeah, man. So that goes into the fact that all these nations, they would see us, they know who we are, but they would suffer us to be put in graves, meaning they wouldn't put our spirit to rest. They're not going to tell us who we are, that we are the Israelites.
We need to know who we are.
Yeah.
Common folk don't.
Yeah. Like the brother says, the elites know, but they're not gonna. They did all these, how you call it? They use all these tactics just to keep us in the, keep us dumb from knowing who we are. You know, because what was it? One of the apostles was saying that some guy in a limousine once he stepped out because he saw the prophets in the streets in New York, and then he stepped out, and then he's like, how did y'all know all this? You know how much money we spent for y'all not to know this? You know, so the elites, they know, and they are programming the people around them and also the Israelites not to know who they really are, how their lineage goes, because they have all the records. You know, they know who we are. They know that we're the chosen ones, that we are the chosen people of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. That was the Deuteronomy 7.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Yeah, man, so we are a special people to the Most High. The Most High has a certain people, a certain nation that He loves above all the rest. Because if you have sneakers, right, you have maybe 10 pairs of sneakers. You have maybe 1 or 2 pairs that you're like, okay, these are my favorites. These are the ones that if I go out and I want to, you know, feel good about myself, these are the ones that I wear. The rest, you know, I like them. They're good to have, you know, they mix and match with the colors, but these are my favorite shoes. So in the same way, the Most High, He created the whole earth, He created all nations, but He created one nation of people to put close to Himself, and that's us. You know, and since these other nations, they know that, they, how you call it, they became one in breaking us.
Confederate against us.
Yeah, confederate against us. Yeah, so they are confederate against us, and they want to keep us in the low state that we are right now. You see? Because like the brother just read, Revelation 11 said that we, the dead bodies, are going to lie in the streets 3 days and a half. And that dead body doesn't mean that our carcasses are going to lay down on the streets. Even though that is happening also because they're gunning and shooting us down, you know. But it's more of a spiritual parable that we are in a dead state of mind, that we don't know who we are. Psalms, no, Proverbs 16.
21 to 16 or 16 to 21?
Yeah, 21 to 16.
Yeah, okay. This is Proverbs chapter 21, verse 16. The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead.
Yeah, man. That's how we are in a dead state of mind. We didn't know who we are. We didn't know about the law, statutes, and commandments. So we went away from the ways of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So we were basically dead, spiritually dead. We were broken in the dark. We didn't know anything. We didn't know any better. So we were spiritually dead, and that's why these other nations, they were glad to keep us in that state. The Psalms 83.
This is Psalms chapter 83, and
Right above all the nations.
verse 3. They've taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thine hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Yeah, man. So we also read in Jeremiah 17 that it's the Most High that caused us to forget our heritage. So the Most High, He is also putting it in their minds, in these other nations, their minds, because He is in control of everything. He's in control of these heathens, their minds. Also, when they sleep, He programs them like, hey, this is what you got to do. Like, you still got that Psalms? The Psalms, men which are thy hand. So finish that.
For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee.
Yeah, man. So they are confederate against us. So they form one union, one unit against us, against the nation of Israel. Yeah,
Because you might think, like, you know, right now upon this earth, there's a people that call themselves, you know, the people of the Most High, which are these small-head people. But the point of the scripture is the fact that the original people that were called the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that they would not be known as the Israelites upon the earth. That's basically what these nations try to accomplish and did for a very long time. But as the brother also brought out, right now is the moment that the Most High is giving us back the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Heavenly Father.
This is Psalms chapter 17 and verse 14. For men which are thy hand, O Yahweh, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure, they are full of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes.
Yeah, man. So the point is, from men which are thy hand. So the Most High, He uses men as their hand, just like we read in Isaiah 10. He uses the Assyrian as the whipping stick. So you have to grab the whipping stick. Is also what he uses us for. We are going to be the battle axe, but still the Most High, you have to grab a battle axe, right? You have to grab a rod. So the Most High, He uses men to do the swinging. You see, so the Most High uses men. He used these other nations as a whipping stick, as a rod against us. You see, because He can't stand in the sight of the Most High. If the Most High reveals Himself, you will drop dead right on the spot. So you're not going to be punished during your life, because here underneath the earth, this is where you get your judgment and your punishment. How? Through demon attacks, through people, you know, since we're on the topic of people. So men bring forth the judgment of the Most High. You see? And the Psalms 80, you can continue with that.
This is Psalms chapter 83 and verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites, of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also is joined with them. They've opened the children of Lot, Salah.
You can jump back to Revelation 11. Yeah, so here you have a list of all the nations that were confederate against us up until this day. Esau, the Moabites, the Hagarenes, the Ishmaelites, you know, all these nations, they are confederate against the nation of Israel. So they were the ones that are going to tell us, like, hey, you the people of the Most High, and if you get right, you know, you're going to have rulership on this earth. Wow, man, they want this rulership for themselves. You see? So they weren't about to tell us that we are the Israelites. So they didn't suffer our dead bodies to be put in graves.
This is Revelation chapter 11 and verse 10. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth.
Yeah, so these these other nations, they were rejoicing that we were brought low, that we are in captivity, because the two prophets, these two prophets, why does it say the two prophets? Because it represents the northern and southern kingdom. You know, these two prophets, they have been tormenting these other nations. You see? So they didn't tell us like, hey, you are the Israelites. Not. What they did, they rejoiced and they gave themselves gifts. Because if you look at the Statue of Liberty, the Statue of Liberty is a gift from France for having the nation of Israel in captivity. You see?
Because during the times that we was in rulership, we basically had them under subjection. And they understood what would happen if these things would happen again. That's something that they do not want, so they were very happy for the fact that we lost our heritage.
This is Psalms chapter 94 and verse 5. They break in pieces thy people, O Yahweh, and afflict thy heritage.
Yeah, man. So they are continually getting that scripture that kingdom suffer and violence. Read again.
This is Psalms chapter 94 and verse 5. They break in pieces thy people, O Yahweh, and afflict thy heritage.
Yeah, man. So they are breaking us. They are putting us in a lower state. All of them. You know, because if you look at these other nations, when they come into a country that they are a stranger in, just like that they get a permit. Just like that they set up shop. But we can't set up shop suddenly in a country where we have no bands or where we don't have no connections. But these other nations, they help each other just to keep us low.
This is Matthew chapter 11 and verse 12. And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and the violent take it by force.
Yeah, man. So the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and Yahushua also said, "The kingdom of heaven dwelleth in you." So that refers to the kingdom of heaven, refers to the Israelites. You know, because we are going to be like we were going into in 2nd Ezra. We are going to have next. We after this rulership of Esau, the kingdom of heaven is going to be established through the Israelites, and we are going to rule it forever and ever, man. See? No. Did you have a
What is the violence?
Yeah, the violence is that we are under subjection continually. We are being brought low. We are the prey. We are being spoiled.
At that time, it was the Roman Empire that was messing us up, and that's why you had the Sicarii, you had the Zealots that would assassinate Roman soldiers, man. So there was a lot of violence going on in the midst of Jerusalem, in the midst of Israel, because Jake was being killed left and right, and Jake was killing a lot of Roman soldiers, man, which that created a certain tension, you know, from the Romans towards us, man. Vice versa. That's why Yahushua said concerning lifting up the sword, don't lift up the sword, man. Okay? If you live by the sword, you shall die by the sword. You see, and it was not, Yahushua came to teach that it was not a matter of pulling swords, but using the scriptures as a sword, you know, and suffer through the violence until the time of the end is, and ye shall stand in your blood. Daniel 12 and last verse. You see? Because, like it says, Jerusalem is a place, it's a people before it's a place. Because if people are not gathered together, a city doesn't exist. You see, then there is no city if there is no people. So before it's a city, it's a people. So Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. So the kingdom is a people before it's a place. Okay, we are the kingdom. That's why in Revelation 21 it also says, I saw New Jerusalem coming down from heaven, referring to the elect, man. Because the elect is going to establish New Jerusalem. Read Daniel 13.
This is Daniel chapter 12 verse 13. But go thou Go thou that way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in the lot at the end of the days.
Yeah, man. So go and rest, and ye shall stand in your lot in the end of the day. So Yahushua came to preach and told his men to go and preach. Matthew 10 and 5. Matthew 10 and 5, yeah, and told his men to go and preach into these places and heal the sick and cleanse the lepers. You know, because that was the way that we should fight the enemies of the Lord, man. By preaching His word, by waking up the people, by bringing the people back to the Heavenly Father, man. Because that's why you had Ezekiel in the book of Judith, if I'm correct, or Esther. In the book of Esther, I think. And he said, if these people stand with their God, you are not able to overthrow them. So Yahushua came to bring the people back to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and then shall the end come. You see? So it was Judah. So that is the objective, not to pull swords and to slay all these Edomites. That comes in the end when we turn back to the Heavenly Father, because then we're gonna be prosperous. If we do it right now, we're not gonna be prosperous because we're not with the Heavenly Father. Okay? The majority I'm talking about. So now, us turning back to the Heavenly Father, we are able to lift up sword in the end of the times, you know, to take the kingdom. Okay? The saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. Yeah.
This is 2 Maccabees chapter 5 verse 19. Nevertheless, the Most High did not choose the people for the place's sake, but the place for the people's sake.
Exactly. The Most High did not choose the place for the people for the place sake, but the place for the people's sake. Right? Read it again. I think I messed it up.
This is 2 Maccabees chapter 5 verse 19. Nevertheless, the Most High did not choose the people for their place's sake, but the place for the people's sake.
Exactly. For the people's sake, the Most High chose Jerusalem to be the mother of us all, man. Like it says, Jerusalem is the mother of us all. Okay, now Jerusalem goes back to a very spiritual place, man, because that's where Mount Moriah is, where almost Isaac got sacrificed. That's where also King David set up the altar with the angel in the sky. Okay, the angel was watching King David setting up the altar, and the angel did not leave until King David, you know, bought the threshing floor and sacrificed on the altar, which that same altar later became the temple on the Temple Mount. You see? It's also the place where Yahushua got crucified. Okay? It's the place where Melchizedek received the 10% of Abraham. So a lot of spiritual things happened right there in that place, man. Okay? So if you think spiritually, man, there must be, you know, some spiritual connection from the heavens to the earth, man. Because that's also where the temple has to be, where you have the holiest of holies, where Yahweh will plead with the high priest, man, or will speak with the high priest. Okay, 3 times a year. Go read the Matthew 10 and 5.
This is Matthew 10, verse 5. These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as ye go, preach, saying, The kingdom of heaven is at hand.
As ye go, preach, and say this, that, and the third. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. So why did Yahushua say that the kingdom of heaven is at hand already at this time? Grab 2 Esdras 14. Why did Yahushua already say it at that time? Because that's more than 2,000 years ago. So in our mind, grab 2 Peter 3, and I think verse 6, where it says, one day with the Lord is as 1,000 years. In our mind, we are like 2,000 years ago, you already said the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Damn. But if you look at the time frame of the creation of the earth up till now, we are at the end, man. See? 2 Esdras 14, I think start at are you gonna read it? I think verse 8 or something. Verse 10. Yeah. Let him read it, because it's a little bit long.
Third day scripture. It shows that we are in the last day. Since the day of the Yahweh.
Yeah, that also, yeah.
Pick up after the
Lamentation and also Hosea.
This is the second Esdras, chapter 14 and verse 10. For the world has lost its youth, and the time began to wax old. For the world is divided into 12 parts, and the 10 parts of it are gone already, and half the 10th part. And there remaineth that which is after the half of the 10th part. Now therefore set an house in order, and reprove that people, comfort such of them as be in trouble.
Yeah. Go back.
This is second Esdras, chapter 14 and verse 10. For the world hath lost its youth.
Yeah, the world has lost its youth. Okay, and it's talking about, you know, the time frame where the Heavenly Father chose the former house to be established, and then the latter house, which the latter house, so what is that for? Just put it there. Just put it as where it was.
Het was eerst daar, maar door de muziek heb ik het dichterbij gezet. Muziek is down.
Read it again.
This is second Esdras, chapter 14 and verse 10. For the world hath lost its youth.
Yeah, the world has lost its youth because, like I said, the former house is almost over, which had to be fulfilled in 12 parts. Okay, the first 7 parts were creation. Okay, because the 7 days wherein the Heavenly Father, His angels created the earth, was really 7,000 years. Give me the second Peter 3.
It's 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 8. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day.
Yeah, man. So that's what it is, man. So it took 7,000 years to really have the earth finished, man. Which actually 6,000, because the 7,000th year there was rest. Okay, the ultimate Sabbath of rest for 1,000 years, you know. Okay, so that's how the Most High looks at things. Go on.
And the time began to wax old.
The time began to wax old, meaning we are at the end. Okay, because if you have 12 parts and you are already in the 12th part right now, you're in the end, man. Now when Yahushua was on the scene, he was in the 10th part. You see? Go on.
For the world is divided into 12 parts,
The world is divided into 12 parts.
and the 10 parts of it are gone already, and half of the 10th part.
Yeah, man, give me real quick Psalms 82 and 5. Psalm, yeah, you just keep holding that and let them grab the precepts. Psalms 82 and 5. Ecclesiastes 1 and 4. Start off with that because, like it said, the world has lost its youth and is beginning to wax old. Also because the way that this earth is being treated, you know, causes the world to diminish, man, to decay, lose its strength. Yeah, because if the earth would be taken care of, it would be in its full strength. But guess what? This earth is being polluted day in and day out.
This is Psalms 82, verse 5. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness, and all the foundations of the earth are out of course.
Yeah, man, the foundations of the earth are out of course. But then again, it is all the will of the Heavenly Father, because in the 12th part, you know, everything will have to be refreshed. After the 12th part, everything will be refreshed. And then the former age is passed away and the new age is going to come, which is the eternal age of the kingdom of Yahshua, the kingdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You see? That's when these 12 parts are done away with, and then that is the end of the former age, which Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. So that is going to be done away, and the new house, the new kingdom, the new world will be established.
This is second Esdras, chapter 5, starting at verse 15.
Hosea 6 and 2.
And I asked and said, seeing thou hast now given me the way, I will proceed to speak before thee. For a mother of whom thou hast told me that she is young, draweth now nigh unto age. He answered me and said, ask a woman that beareth children, and she shall tell thee. Say unto her, wherefore are not they whom thou hast now brought forth like those that were before, with less of stature? And she shall answer thee, they that be born in the strength of youth, are of one fashion, and they that are born in the time of age, when the womb faileth or otherwise.
Yeah, man. So when a woman is old and she gets pregnant, the children are not gonna have that youthful strength of the mother, man, because the nutrients are going slower through the body. But if you have a woman of a young age that gets pregnant, the child is gonna be very lively, man, very strong and lively, because the child is born in the time of youth.
Verse 54, consider thou therefore also how that ye are less of stature than those that were before you, and so are they that come after you less than ye, as the creature which now begin to be old and have passed over the strength of youth.
Yeah, man. So we are the creature, and we are also decaying, man. So the strength of the people is decaying, man. That's why when in Genesis the sons of God laid down with the daughters of men, guess what they did? They mingled the holy seed. So it's like when you put 10 ice cubes in a glass of whiskey, you still have the same amount of whiskey in the glass, but it doesn't taste that strong no more. You see? If you put one ice cube in it, you're still gonna taste the strength. But guess what? It's also lost its strength, man. If you keep the whiskey and if you add more whiskey to it without ice cubes, it only becomes stronger. It becomes the same. It stays the same. Doesn't get stronger, but you know you still have what you put in. You know, it's not being mixed. So that is what happened with us. And when that happened, guess what the Heavenly Father said? Now you will become 120 years old. Did that happen immediately? No. Over time, the age dropped to 120, man. And at that time, it was 600-700 years back.
Because we became less of stature because the nutrients of the earth were also becoming less and less as the earth itself was also weakening and waxing old.
Yeah.
So over time, we also became weaker and weaker.
That's why the scripture says that the earth is polluted under the inhabitants thereof. See? Go on.
Verse 56. Then said I, Lord, I beseech thee, if I have found favor in thy sight, show thy servant by whom thou visitest thy creature.
Yeah, and that he was asking what the angel of his name is, if I'm correct, by whom thou visitest thy creature, or not? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Go on. No, I want Hosea 6:2.
This is Hosea 6, verse 2. After 2 days will he revive us.
No, wait. Ecclesiastes 1:4.
Ecclesiastes 1:4. One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever.
Yeah, man. So it doesn't mean that after the 12 parts are done, that the earth is gonna be destroyed or whatever, man. The earth abideth forever. You see, so when these Edomites speak about the nuclear destruction and say that when all these missiles are being shot, that then the earth is gonna be totally gone. That's not the case, man. The earth will abide forever. It's never gonna, the globe is never gonna be destroyed. Yeah, I said globe because the earth is a sphere, man. It's not flat. See? So it's gonna abide forever. It's never gonna be done away with. But when it speaks about the earth shall be gone, it's talking about, you know, with this establishment, this former age, this former world wherein there's the children of Israel are sinning and are walking with a stony heart. You have these heathens in rulership. That's why his name is not second Ezra. That's why Ezra said, how long shall this continue, that these heathens rule over us? And we have no inheritance in this world. Meanwhile, the world is created for our sakes. You see? So the end of this former world is going to be done, but the kingdom will be established in the same earth. And it will be refreshed, man. Okay? It will be renewed. Let me see. For the world is divided into 12 parts. Yeah, so read that again.
This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 14, and verse 11. For the world is divided into 12 parts.
The world is divided into 12 parts from creation till now. 12 parts. Go on.
And the 10 parts of it are gone already, and half of the 10 parts.
10 parts are gone already, half of the 10 parts. So that means 9,500 years. Since the creation, 9,500 years. First, you had the 7,000 of creation, and then when Ezra was on the scene, then was the Babylonian Empire, which is what 360 AD or something, or 400 BC. I mean, around 400, 500 BC.
Yeah.
So that is the half of the 10th part, because you have to think like this. I had a long ass discussion with this man about it. When you start, there is not one. You walk up to one. Now it's one. So when the half of a 10th part, from 9 up till 10, if you are 9.5, that is you now have the half of the 10th part. So when the 10th part is completed, now you have 10. When you go to let's say so 9,500 years is half of the 10th part. But now you have 1,000 years. What did I say? 9,000. No, now you have 10,000 years. Then you have then the 10th part is completed. But if you go 10,500 years, now you have half of the 10th part. Anyway, 9,500 BC, from creation I'm talking about, from creation, 9,500 years ago, later, you had the Babylonian Empire, wherein Ezra was, and then he said this thing, from the 12 parts, we are now here. And then when the 10th part, yeah, sure. Around that time, yeah.
Hope y'all can read it good from left to right. It says the Babylonian Empire from 606 till 536 BC, before Christ.
You see, so around 500 years before the coming of the Lord, man. You see, BC is before Christ. AD is Anno Domini, which means the year of our Lord. The year of Anno is year, and Domini is reigning, when the Lord is reigning. Okay, so when the Lord has come and we are in the reign, but we really are not in the reign, because Yahushua said, if this was my kingdom, my servants would fight. So we are not in the reigning years of the Lord. Okay, that's why these heathens say the Lord has come already. This is already the kingdom. This is your kingdom. That's why it says, my sword shall bathe in heaven. This is Esau's heaven, and the sword is talking about the nuclear missiles. You see, this is his heaven. That's why you have the saying in the world, white man's heaven is a black man's hell. You see, because this is his heaven. Anyway, so when the 10th part was completed, it was the year 0. Okay, that's when Yahushua was born. Because that's where they started counting, right? Now their counting is off. Really, we are not in the year 2022 right now. We are really not in that year, man. Because how the hell did these Edomites count the years when they was in the caves? How the hell did they know? You see? They wasn't even here. You had the Ishmaelites, teaming up with Jake, calling themselves the Moors. And then you had Jake overthrowing the Roman Empire around 182 AD. It started around that period of time up till 325 AD, when really all these Edomites was out the the living places, the cities, and they really went into the mountains, man. They really went into the caves, because that curse that came upon Cain came back upon, the curse that came upon the serpent returned, which the curse was that thou shalt eat the dust of the ground, man. Okay, which means that their status would be brought low again. Okay, because they grew up to be this great Greek empire, so-called great Greek empire, into the Roman Empire. And then the Most High was like, man, I'm going to jack you up again, because the curse of the serpent is going to come upon you again. But you have to go on your belly and swallow up this dust, which means bring back to a low state, man. You see? So So Esau was being brought low again. They became Neanderthals again, and the known world was being ruled by Jake, man. In the Jake and Ishmael, and there was like a divided rulership for a long time, man. You had the Vikings, okay. You had the Anglo-Saxons, the Jutes. You had the Celts, okay. You had barbarian groups. You had Jake ruling the Roman Empire, the Holy Roman Empire, which was not holy because it was full of paganism, okay, because all the religions and everything was joined together, man. That's why this Christianity is also pagan worship, man, going into Christmas, okay, which Christmas is really Christ's mass, the massacre of the anointed ones, okay. And it's going into a pagan worship, man. Bacchus, Bacchanal, Saturnalia, okay? And all these German gods, these Norwegian gods, and these Greek gods and Roman gods are all linked together, man. Friday is the day of Freya, which is the wife of Thor. Not the wife of Thor, the wife of Odin. You see? Thursday is Thor Day. Day of Thor. Wodan, which was Wodan? Wodan is Odin.
Yeah. And also Santa Claus goes also back to him. They also refer Odin as Santa Claus.
Yeah,
because of the sleigh, and then he has two black creatures, two crows, which are the sleigh.
Yeah, because Odin has these crows, exactly. So all these things go intertwined. Now you had that. Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you for. Because you also have what was the thing that I was referring to? Yeah, Easter. Yeah. So here it says Easter was Ostara, the spring equinox that was worshipped at the time of Easter. But then again, Easter also goes back to Ishtar, which is the mother of Nimrod and wife of Nimrod. You see, which is Samaram. I always say Ceramyces because it's easier for me to pronounce, but it's something like Semiramis, yeah. But I always say Ceramyces.
She also goes back to the person.
If you type in Ceramyces, Google will correct you, but then you still find it. But if you type in GMS Camp Holland, Google is not gonna help you, just for your information. So it says Ostara, but then that's a German goddess. But it's the same, man. It's the same.
Goes back to Esther.
Ostara,
Goes back to Esther.
Ishtar goes back to Esther. I don't know. Anyway, so you had the Holy Roman Empire joining all these gods and all these feasts together, to still keep the customs of the Roman Empire that Jake was used to, man. Okay? Bacchanal, okay, which is worshipping of Bacchus, Janus, and all these Roman gods, man. Okay? Now the brother said, like, you have entities and you have deities. Deities, just a quick side note, I wanted to make a video about it, but it's not really that deep. Deities are creatures that are being as being an ultimate god, but the entity is a creature made by that deity. Entity is made by the deity. So the Mosai is a deity, and the demons and angels are forms of entities, spirits.
I made that mistake once, I believe.
Yeah, last week you said that. So just to get that out.
It's above, and entities is under.
Yeah. So when we speak about these things that heathens is worshiping, it goes back to entities, man, because they are not gods. You see, they are not God, the ultimate gods, man. They are just entities that are being worshipped that grant them certain powers. That's why Jake started to believe in it.
Got a quick precept on that?
Anyway, I don't want to go off topic. I just want to get back to the topic. So when the 10th part was completed, Yahushua came on the scene. Now what did it say? The kingdom, go out and preach the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Why? They was already going into the 11th part, man. Being on the scene with Yahushua. They was going into the 11th part. Okay? And we are we are into the 12th part now, man. Okay? Because now you can read Hosea.
This is Hosea 6, verse 2. After 2 days will he revive us. In the 3rd day we will rise up again, and we shall live in his sight.
Yeah, so we are in the 2nd day. So from the time that Yahushua came on the scene, you had 2 days. So after 2 days, he will revive us. Meaning we are going to stand back on our feet. Give me that in Revelation. What is that? Revelation 11 and 11, I think. Revelation 11 and 11, which is also a prophecy of... it's also a prophecy of Ezekiel. Yeah, you can grab that too.
We're going to go into that. I'm just going to do the breakdown of Ezekiel 37.
Can you read?
This is Revelation 11 and 11.
This is Revelation chapter 11 and verse 11. And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from God entered into them. And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them.
Philippians 1 and 28. So great fear fell upon them that saw them, because really, not these low-life Edomites are fearful of us, but these higher-ups, man. Because they see us prophesying, they see us standing on our feet, meaning there's life into us right now. Okay? When Adam received the breath of life of the Heavenly Father, that was not that he became a living soul. That does not mean that he became alive. He was already alive, but without understanding. When the Most High breathed the life, reading.
This is Genesis 2, verse 7. And the Most High formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul.
Yeah, man, because how are you alive? You are alive if you have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That's what makes you alive. That's why in Ezekiel it says that without this breath of life, they are like dry bones. They are dead. You see? So when we did not have the understanding of Yahweh Shemel Shai, we were dead, man. Now we are dead unto this world. Huh?
Stealing my topic. I was going to go into that.
Then it's the spirit. Okay? We are dead unto this world, but we are alive because we have this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Give me Colossians 3:1. What did I ask you? Give me Philippians. Because it says, great fear fell upon them that saw them. This is Bible ripping up. Precepts gone in the wind.
Philippians chapter 1, verse 28. And in nothing terrified by your adversaries, which is to them an evident token of perdition, but the you of salvation, and that of the Most High.
You see, so that we are prophesying in great boldness is for them evidence that their kingdom is coming to an end, man. It's a token unto their perdition, which is destruction, but unto us for salvation. If you see brothers standing out in the highways and byways preaching the downfall of this wicked kingdom, that symbolizes the downfall of this kingdom, man. Because that is the prophecy being fulfilled, that we would stand upon our feet and prophesy, man. You see?
Jeremiah also did that, right? So,
exactly. So that is the fulfillment of prophecy that this kingdom is coming. Because whenever you would see the prophets rise up, that would mean that the kingdom was about to end, man. Okay? That's why it said Jeremiah prophesied of all the evils that would come upon the kingdom, and that it would fall, man. You see? When Daniel started prophesying, he spoke about the downfall of Babylon, man. He said the Medo-Persian Empire is going to take over Babylon. And he also said, like, and after that, the Greek Empire is going to take it down. Okay? And after that, the Roman Empire is going to rise up, man. You see? So if you need biblical proof, you have to go into the book of Daniel. Because Daniel was living during the Babylonian Empire, and he already knew what empires would rule after it, man. You see? Would come after it. Go on. Yeah, give me Colossians 3:1. No, before we go there, read. So the breath of life is the understanding, which makes you a living soul. Because without this truth, you are dead. Read it, Ron. Yeah.
This is John 6, verse 63. It is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life.
You see, the words of the Most High are spirit, are true, and they are life, man. You see, that is what brings life unto your flesh and healing to your bones, like it says in Proverbs chapter 4. Okay, go on in Ezekiel 37. Okay, read that.
This is Proverbs chapter 21, verse 16. The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead.
Yeah, man, so if you don't walk in the way of understanding, you are amongst the congregation of the dead. Because you don't have life within you, man. Because you have no understanding. So the Most High decided to deal with Adam, who was taken out from among the Adamites. He chose to deal with him, and he gave him the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, because the other people was not walking in that. That's why the Heavenly Father was like, hey, I'm gonna destroy these people, man. Because they're doing whatever they can, and we want. And it's messed up, man. They are filthy. I'm gonna deal with Noah, who is a descendant of the chosen Adam. I'm gonna deal with Noah and with his children, and they are gonna repopulate the earth, because the earth is full of wickedness. Now, the proof that there were multiple Adamites, or multiple people called Adam, is that who would Cain deal with? Would he deal with his sister? No, because according to the law, that is not the law. He was not dealing with his sister. Okay? Who were they dealing with? You see? They was dealing with other people that were also created at the time, being called Adamites. Okay? Go on.
It also says men and women that he created them.
Yeah,
male and female that he created them.
Yeah, grab it. Genesis 5. Genesis 5 and 3.
This is Genesis
5 and 2.
2. I believe 2 and
No, Genesis 5. Genesis 5 and 2 or 5 and 3?
Oh yeah, come. This is Genesis 5 verse 2.
The rebellion, he wanted to go to Genesis 2, but it's Genesis 5.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh my God. This is Genesis 5 verse 2. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam.
Yeah, so
name.
male and female created he them. So you can still say like, okay, two people is also called them, right? Go on.
And called their name Adam.
Okay, wait a minute. So if it refers to them, and he created them and called their multiple name Adam, but wait a minute. Eve was not called Adam, so why is Eve now Adam also? Because there was a multitude of people created which were called Adamites. Okay? And I explained this also in a lesson that I did this week or last week. Adamites, ites, refers to people. Okay, ites refers to people, and then people that come from Adam. But really, they were just Adamites to begin with, all of them. They are all Adam. They were called Adam. Okay? Even the females were called Adam. Just like a female Jake woman is called an Israelite. Just like a man is called an Israelite. You see?
Yeah. Because once Adam and Eve transgressed, they were hiding themselves amongst the trees, which those trees represent people.
Exactly.
That also shows there were multiple people there in that time.
Yeah.
You want Ezekiel? Or you want Colossians?
Give me Ezekiel. You heard that? You heard that?
Yeah, I heard it over there somewhere.
Yeah, that's why I was like, that's Naka.
No, but before that.
Before that, what? She was smiling to me. So yeah, no. Go on. Ezekiel, read Ezekiel.
This is Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 1. The hand of the Lord Yahweh was upon me, and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord Yahweh, and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones.
Yeah, man, the valley refers to America. America is that valley where we have been brought. That's why Coolio had the song as a walk through the valley of the shadow of death. He didn't know that he was actually speaking about America rightfully, because that is the shadow of the valley of the shadow of death, man. He was actually speaking truth in that song, man. Because America is the valley of the shadow of death, man. Okay, so the valley that is full of bones is America. Give me Baruch 2 and 30.
Psalms 23 that you just quoted. This is Psalms 23, verse 4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me.
Exactly. So the valley of the shadow of death is America, where predominantly Jake is being gunned down in the streets on the daily, man. Oh yeah.
This Deuteronomy 28, verse 66, verse 65. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life. In the morning thou shalt say, would Yahweh it were even, and at even thou shalt say, would Yahweh it were morning.
Yeah, man. So in this place where we would be brought, where our forefathers were brought, which is America, in that place we would have failing of hearts and eyes, desiring things, not getting them. Our life shall hang on a string, which means that you don't know if you're going to make it to tomorrow because of the curses, the other curses that came upon us. The yoke came upon us, the evil eye towards your brother came upon us, being enslaved came upon us. Do you know that we never knew in slavery, we never knew what day we was going to die. You would just feel sick that day, or the sun hit you very hard and you fell sick, and you're trying to pick as much cotton as you can. That same day you die, man, because the slave master is not content with your work. He whips you to death, man. He tells Jake to whip you to death. Now, he's not gonna do it himself, only if you really offended him. But he tell the biggest Jake with the buffest arms, he would tell you to whip him. And then if the Jake wouldn't whip you hard enough, he would tie up that Jake next to you, and he would also get whiplashes, man. But guess what? They always had the Coonerines, the Coonites, because this is a special group of special group of Israelites, man. Coonites, okay, the Coonerines, they would whip you so hard. They would whip you harder than the Edomite would whip you, man, because they hate you. They really, really hate you, man. Now that's the fulfillment of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54. The eye shall be evil towards his brother. Wait, don't get nervous, huh? It's all good. It's all good, man. Don't throw away this device.
Maybe he saw somebody that direct man, like, oh shit, that person here.
Yeah, man. So, read on in Ezekiel.
This is Ezekiel chapter 37.
Oh, you have Baruch 2 and 30.
This is Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves.
In the land of their captivity, they shall remember themselves. So that is the fulfillment of Ezekiel, because Ezekiel is going to prophesy, and it's going to bring back the remembrance, and the breath of life is going to enter into them, that happened in the valley, which is the valley of the shadow of death, which is America. That's where that happened. Okay? In the land of their captivity, they shall remember themselves. So read on in Ezekiel.
Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 2. And caused me to pass by them round about, and behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry.
Yeah, man. So what did Ezekiel see? Ezekiel saw the state of our people in America, man, being dry as hell, man, having no understanding. Okay, give me what is that again? Sirach. Did you see what I do? It was here, and I flipped it, and I have it immediately. This is Sirach chapter 27, verse 8. If thou followest righteousness, thou shalt obtain her and put her on as a glorious long robe. So knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is being referred to as clothing, decking yourself with clothing. But we didn't even have skin. We didn't even have flesh upon our bones. That's how dry we were. Completely destroyed, man. Completely destroyed. Completely naked, beyond nakedness. Because if you're naked, you also have no understanding. You deck yourself with clothing. Now you can deck yourself with Roman clothing. You can deck yourself with Greek or Babylonian clothing. But that means that you still don't have the truth. You deck yourself with philosophies that are not the truth. Read on in Ezekiel.
Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 3. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, Lord Yahweh, thou knowest. And he said unto me, prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord Yahweh.
Okay, so the Most High told Ezekiel, go and prophesy unto these bones. And then what happened?
Verse 5, thus said the Lord.
Starts now basic first, now verse 5.
This is verse 5. Thus said the Lord Yahweh power unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live.
I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. After the prophesying of the word, breath is going to enter into you, and then you're going to live because you're going to have wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Okay, give me Hosea 1 and 10. Read on. Oh, you have the...
This is Ephesians 2 verse 1. And you had he quickened who were dead in trespasses and sins.
Yeah, man. That's right. Give me Colossians 3 and 1.
Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah 3 verse 15. And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding.
Exactly. So the pastors will go into the highways and byways, preach the word. You are going to hear the word, and the breath of the Heavenly Father is going to enter into you if you are a chosen vessel, man. Give me the power bank. Give me the power bank.
I said,
Okay. So that wisdom, knowledge, understanding is going to make you alive again. Give me Colossians 3.
3 and 1?
Yes.
This is Colossians 3 verse 1. If ye then be risen with Yahushai, seek those things which are above, where Yahushai sitteth on the right hand of the Most High. Set your affections on things above, not on things on the earth. For ye are dead, and your life is hid with Yahushai in the Most High.
We are dead, and our life is hid with Yahushai and the Most High. So according to this world, we are dead because we depart from the ways of this world. But according to the Spirit, we are alive. Our life rests with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay? Go on.
Verse 4. When Yahushai, who is our life, shall appear, then shall ye also appear with him in glory.
Go on.
Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry.
Exactly. So therefore, we have to cut off all the worldly things that we still possess, and we need to focus on the spiritual things, man. We need to focus on the heavenly things, the heavenly blessings that await us, man. Huh? Yeah, because he just busts up my whole phone with the cable being tight as hell. Don't think.
It's the cable that we always use.
Yeah, but it's hanging too low, so this is being pulled all the way down, messing up the gate. So we cut off our worldly lusts to walk in the Spirit and to let our life rest with the Most High. Okay? What is this other scripture? Ye that were once dead are now alive. In Yahushua, yeah. Something to that effect. Would you read on in Ezekiel? It's not Romans 6. That's why I roughly paraphrase it so much.
This is Ezekiel.
Ye that were once dead are now alive.
This Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 6, and I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring flesh upon you, and cover you with skin and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh.
Exactly. So we would be decked with meat, with flesh, and sinews, and muscle tissue, and everything, and we would stand back upon our feet, man. Now that's the prophecy that came to pass. Ezekiel was being prophesied in Revelation again, and it happened, and it was being spoken of in Hosea 6 and 2, and it also links up with the prophecy of Ezra chapter 14. You see? Because it's all linked together, man. So go read Hosea 6 and 2 again, and read on in 2nd Ezra chapter 14.
Colossians 2 and 13. That's okay. That was Colossians 2 and 13.
So read Hosea 6 and 2 again. No, read 2nd Ezra 14 and 11 again, and then you read Hosea 6 and 2 again.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 14 and verse 11. For the world is divided into 12 parts, and the 10 parts of it are gone already, and half of the 10 part.
Yeah, so when Yahushua came on the scene, the beginning of the 10th, no, the end of the 10th part was there. So the beginning of the 11th part was, you know, it was running up to the to finishing the 11th part. So when Yahushua said the kingdom of heaven is at hand, that was really, really true, man. Because if you, let's say, so you have 12 parts. When you're in the 6th part, you're already on the halfway. So if you are in the 10th part, it's only 2 parts left. You're almost there. It's almost done. That's why Yahushua said, hey, we are at the end, man. Kingdom of heaven is at hand. This is the time that you would learn the whole truth, the whole purpose of the Most High. Then you're gonna rest and sleep with your fathers, and in the end of the day, she shall stand in your lot. That's why the scripture says the spirit of the prophets is subject to the prophets. If you used to prophesy in the time of the Lord Yahushua, you're gonna prophesy now again, man. That's why Yahushua said after the resurrection in the book of Acts, give me that, he was gonna prophesy across the four corners of the earth, man. That was not talking about that time. It was talking about the time to come. Okay. Yeah.
This is
So,
2nd
girls looking for things.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 7, and starting in verse 28. For my son Yahushua shall be revealed with those that be with him, and they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years. After these years shall my son Yahushua die.
Where are you reading?
2nd Ezra 7. And all men that have
Break
life.
it down also.
So this shows you that in the book of 2nd Ezra, Yahushua was already prophesied, and Ezra lived in the time during the time that the Medo-Persians were in power, which was right after the Babylonian time. But here it speaks about that Yahushua would be revealed 400 years later, which that matches up with what the brother said, that the half a part would make the complete 10 part.
10 parts.
That was at the time that.
That's why when you look at the clock, at half past 10, it's going up to the 11th part. So you say 10 and a half, 10:30, because it's not 11 yet. It's about to become 11. That's how you gotta look at it. When is the day complete? At the end of the day. Not in the beginning. You don't say this is the first day. No. At the end of the day, you start counting with 1. Otherwise, also the Sabbath would be moved up 1 day every time. You see? It's impossible. Then the Sabbath would be 1 day later every time.
That's not the discussion that we had.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand because, yeah.
Go on.
I think I have the one with X. That
Yeah, X1 and 6.
or 1 is X. I thought X 11.
No, X1. What was that about again?
That we had, that the disciples had to.
Yeah, that's one. It's 1 and 6. It's in the first chapter.
Okay.
But 1 and 6 is something else. That when shall the kingdom be established? That's 1 and 6. But
Also go to the uttermost part of the earth, and the uttermost part means this time and age that we're living in.
yeah, that's what I was. Does it say in the same? Yeah, verse 8. Acts 1 and 8.
This is Acts 1, verse 8. But ye shall receive power after that the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost part of the earth.
Yeah, man. So we are bearing witness of the word of the Lord, man. We bearing witness of the truth. That's why we prophesying, man. We witnesses of knowledge. Because what is a witness in court? A witness is a man that has knowledge of what happened. We have the knowledge of what happened, man, and what is going to happen. Okay? That's the prophet. The prophet has knowledge of what is going to happen. That's why he prophesies. Prophesy means pro is before, emphasize to say. You say before it happens.
And like the brother is going into, we just read that Yahushua is our life. And brother is now mentioning that you have to prophesy. And what does the scripture say? Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. So if you have that spirit of Yahushua, then you will prophesy, then you will preach. You know? And also, if I may add on to the Acts, because if you go into that word ghost, here in Holy Ghost, Holy Spirit, that comes from the word pneuma, which is breath. You know, that's that spirit of the Most High.
Spirit of understanding, yeah.
Yeah. And also the...
That's why they say, do you have the Holy Ghost? Christians be saying, do you have the Holy Ghost? No, no, no. You have the Holy Spirit. And that means you have the understanding of the scriptures. Oh, no, no, no. That's not... No, the Father and the Son and the Ghost, Holy Ghost, they are one as the Trinity. That's God. You don't understand. The Spirit of the Most High is the spirit of understanding. It's understanding of the scriptures, man. And it's not a female. Okay? It's not a female, man. It goes back to wisdom. And wisdom in the Greek is Sophia. So that's why it's a feminine noun. Okay, because only in the Apocrypha is being referred to as a she, because the Apocrypha is translated from the Greek and not from the Hebrew. The New Testament also is translated from the Greek, but in the New Testament it refers to he, the Spirit, the Holy Spirit is a he, but he, she is understanding. It's the understanding that comes from the Heavenly Father that he grants unto you if he allows you to understand. Grab John 3 and 27.
And also, if you go into Acts 1 and 8, the word uttermost, it goes back to eschatos, which is the latter end. And if you go into the etymology of eschatos, it means the study of the four last things, which is death, judgment, heaven, and hell. And also, yeah, eschatology. You go into the latter end, the end of the age. And that's where we're living in. That's why it refers to and onto the uttermost part of the earth. So we are going to be prophesying until now where the end is, the 12th part of the creation.
Exactly. That's why you read Hosea 6:2 now.
Because otherwise my Bible is also going to be ripped up. Hosea 6 verse 2.
With warm weather you can just use your phone if you want, but yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes I'm like irritated because
you don't recognize the place.
No, also that, but you can type it, so it makes it even more easier. But your precepts, where are your precepts? Yeah, it's not written in your phone. Okay, go.
It's Hosea 6 verse 2. After 2 days will he revive us. In the third day he shall raise us up, and we shall live in his sight.
Yeah, man. So in the second day, which is the 12th part, we are prophesying. We acknowledge who we are. And in the third day, we are in the kingdom, man. We open our eyes and we are in the kingdom. Because what did it say? In the third day, we shall live in his sight. You see? So that's really in the kingdom. The whole nation of Israel is going to live in the sight of the Most High righteously, man. That's why it says that all Israel shall be saved in the Lord. Okay? So, jakes that you might have issues with, or differences with, in the kingdom we are all gonna be one again, man. We are gonna be a people, man. We're gonna be a nation again. Okay? Joined together. That's why during the second day, during the prophecy, the Most High told Ezekiel, take ye up one stick. Take the stick of Ephraim and the stick of Judah and make it one. Yeah, read.
This is Ezekiel chapter 37, starting at verse 15.
This is part of the chapter wherein it was said, go and speak unto the people, man. You see? Go and speak unto the people, let breath enter into them, give them the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Heavenly Father. Make them to understand what this truth is all about. Make the children of Israel one again. Okay? Give me also Zechariah 12 and 9, or is it 9 and 12? I always listen. When I bent Judah and Ephraim, filled the boat with Ephraim. Yeah, because I always mix these two up. Zechariah. Yeah, Zechariah 9. 9 and yeah, 13 actually, but I always start at 12. Yeah, read.
This is Zechariah.
Ezekiel chapter 37, starting at verse 15. The word of the Lord Yahweh came again unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick, and write upon it, for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions.
Exactly. You see, so Judah and the children of Israel is going to be one again. That's the prophecy. That's why we prophesy, hey, according to the tribe sign, if you're a Cuban, you're from Manasseh. If you're Brazilian, you're Asher. If you're Mexican, you're Issachar. If you're Haitian, you're Levi. That is the one stick showing you we are one people, man. On the spiritual level, it's happening, and also on the carnal level, because you see Issachar, the blacks and browns, so-called blacks and browns, joining forces also, man. Recognizing who the real enemy is. That's what's happening in these days, man. Instead of fighting each other, they are now looking at who the real enemy is, man. Okay, so-called blacks supporting Mexicans, man, and vice versa. Don't get me wrong, there's still war between those, but hey, Ezekiel, no, Deuteronomy 30:7 states that the Most High is lifting up these curses, man. The Most High is lifting up these curses and is putting them upon our enemies. That's why Esau is fighting with Esau now instead of Jacob with Jacob. But it's a process, man. Okay, Rome was not overtaken in one day. Like I said, 182 AD up to 325 AD, man. That's freaking, yeah, man, almost 200 years. Okay.
What to say?
Now, we doing this Christmas. 182 up till, so that's 20, let's say, just roughly 20. So that's 140 years.
Right.
No, like 240 years.
Right. Rome was overtaken.
Yeah, 140 years. So yeah, it took 140 years. Man, I'm bad at calculating, man. It's terrible, man. It's embarrassing to do it on camera, man. That's why I'd rather not do it. I let someone else do it. But he didn't get my point. 140 years later, Rome was overtaken completely. Yeah. But I said something else first. 200 years I said. But then I was like, no, not 200 years. Anyway, it's not happening in one blow, man. Slowly but surely, it's a process. The Most High is waking up his people. It's a process. It takes some years. Also for these prophecies to come to pass, man. That's why it says, the word tarry, wait for it. It shall surely come. But it takes patience. It requires patience. And that's why it also says that the man that lost his patience.
Woe to the man that lost patience.
Yeah, woe to the man that lost patience, man. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, that was finished, right?
No. It's Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 16. Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. And join them one to another.
Join them one to another. You see, Judah and his companions is Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim is Joseph and his companions, which Joseph is Ephraim. Okay, it's the northern kingdom, and join them one to another, man. That's the stick. That's why we prophesy always with the stick. Judah and his companions, Ephraim and his companions, which Ephraim is Joseph. And you can see that in Revelation chapter 7, because Manasseh is being mentioned and Joseph is being mentioned. That shows you that Joseph is Ephraim. That's why the blessing went unto Ephraim. And Jacob was like, no, no, no. Oh no, Joseph was like, no, no, no. Because it's funny, if you see your father doing this, putting the right hand on the youngest son and the left hand on the oldest son, man. Joseph was like, no, 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 father, you have to do it like this. He was like, hey, listen, I know what I'm doing, man. I know what I'm doing. Calm down. Calm down, man.
Can I add to what you're saying also? With the joining together, the scripture shows you plainly that the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom are going to be joined together. And also, if you read on up, like we were going into Ezekiel 37, it says, the breath entered into them, and that the sinews came together. He laid sinews upon them, and the sinews, those are muscle fibers that come together. So the sinews represent also the joining together of our people, because back in that time, 1970, then you had all these movements, how you call it, Black Panther, and we were starting to put away our differences and see the enemy for who he really is.
It's also being mentioned here.
Yeah, so the sinews goes back to the joining together.
Want me to read it?
I don't know. That's okay.
Can I read it?
Yeah.
This is Ezekiel chapter 37, starting in verse 7. So I prophesied as I was commanded.
6.
Verse 6. And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came upon them, and the skin covered them, but there was no breath in them.
Yeah, man. So the coming together, if you go into the Black Panther movement, they were coming together, but not by the true purpose of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh, because you also had agents back then, that set up certain things so that our people would be trapped in snares. So in that way, we would be joined together, but not with the breath of life. So when Yahweh Hashem Yahweh put that breath in us, then that would be the correct joining together, like we just read in Ezekiel 37, where it speaks about the two sticks.
Precept. This is Isaiah chapter 54, verse 15. Behold, they shall surely gather together, but not by me. Whosoever shall gather together against thee shall fall for thy sake.
Yeah, man. So back then you also had the folk at Malones, the agents that were sent to just disperse and distort the truth. When this truth was starting to come up, then the elite saw like, hey, we gotta put some agents there, man, just so that we can prolong our rulership.
Yeah, man. Agents are always sent among you, man, to see what is going on and to get intel, information. Okay, because that's what happened also during the time of Yahweh Shai. Agents came among the Lord and his disciples to know what he was all preaching about, man. They wanted to know. Okay.
And nowadays also, they might send somebody that has a little bit of knowledge of this Hebrew.
And they ask certain questions like, so who do we pay tribute to? Shall we pay tribute to Caesar? Because they knew about that zealot movement, man. That zealot movement was very strong, and a zealot would say, fuck Caesar. The hell with Caesar, man. I ain't paying shit. I ain't paying him shit. You see? So they try to trap Yahushua by asking like, who do we pay tribute to? Shall we pay tribute to Caesar? Whose face is on the coin? Caesar's face. So give it to Caesar then, man. You see, don't try to trap me up. That's why it said Yahushua knew their thoughts. He knew their mind. He knew already what their intentions was. That's what. But still, guess what? Still, Yahushua controlled the temple. Yahushua didn't flip out on them, even knowing that what kind of wicked punk ass move they tried to pull on him. Yahushua kept his temper, man. Which that's where the word temperance. That word temper comes from the word temperance. Which temperance is self-control. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
It's Zechariah chapter 9 and
13. I have to remember it now, man. You know I'm very bad names, man. If you tell me your name, 5 seconds later I already forgot it, man.
That's why
especially with these Jake names, man. Especially with Jake. You know Jake from the islands, man. Caribbean chicks, they be telling you names that you never heard of. You never heard of that before, man.
Saforia.
Saforin Chiniquan. Leanne. Get out of here with that difficult maze runner shit, man.
Can I call you baby? I'm just gonna call you baby,
man. Deep. One brother in the camp, he be having Jake chicks and he just calling her something else, man. He said, I can't remember your name and just leave it, man. Same thing, man. Yesterday, we spoke to these chicks from Cabo. He was like, what the hell? What is this name, man? The moment she said it, I asked her again, she said it, I was like, okay, got it. 10 seconds later, I already forgot it again.
That's why you gotta use it in
you got
two sentences.
Because I was thinking like, today I was taking a shower, I was like, man, I'm very bad at names, man. Really, what I actually have to do is the moment someone tells the name, I have to meditate upon it to save it.
Well, you gotta use it.
Like, nice to meet you, their name, my name is...
Yeah, and then use it again and again, and then it's gonna stick.
Man. Especially when I had something in the system, then it's gonna be gone quick. The moment she says it. Yeah, man. Go on.
it's Zechariah chapter 9 and verse 13. When I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as the sword of a mighty man. And the Lord Yahweh shall be seen over them, and his arrow shall go forth as the lightning, and the Lord Yahweh shall blow the trumpet, and shall go with whirlwinds of the south.
Yeah, man. So Judah is gonna join with Ephraim, which is the northern kingdom, with the southern kingdom. They're gonna be joined together, and it's gonna be the end of the Grecians, man. Which the ones that refer to themselves as Grecians are these Edomites. So it's gonna be a fight, man. Okay, it's gonna be a fight, war of the worlds. Okay, because the chariots is gonna be with us, and Israel is a world without end, and Esau is a world that is gonna be finished, man. The end of the world. Esau is the end of the world. It's talking about his rulership. Okay, let's go back to Second Ezra.
Second Esdras, 14.
Speak up a little bit.
This is Second Esdras, chapter 14, verse 11. For the world is divided into 12 parts,
Lamentation 2 and 19.
and the 10 parts of it are gone already, and half of the 10th part. And there remaineth that which is after the half of the 10th part.
Which is like from that time it was like 2,500 years. 2,500 years, man. Go on.
Now therefore set thine house in order, and reprove thy people, comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption.
Yeah, man. So that's what we're doing. We're telling everyone to get in order, to set up their house in order, to acknowledge who you are, put away wickedness, put away evil, focus on the righteousness of the Lord, walk in it, Okay, mortify your members that are of the earth. Okay, and walk in truth and righteousness before the Most High, man, in sincerity. So sincerity means without hypocrisy. Okay, because you have a lot of hypocrites, like Yahushua was already talking about, a lot of hypocrites, man. Dudes running in the streets, running towards Jake females that are wearing pants, telling the female that she is not allowed to wear that which pertaineth unto a man. But then again, they are lined the fuck up. They are lined up. They have dreadlocks. Okay. Ain't you supposed to, get yourself in order first before you start forcing the law upon these females, man? Come on, man. And I made a lesson, man. Your expectations shouldn't be up there for these females, man. Put your expectations concerning these females as low as possible, man. She might be dressing up all good and so-called righteous and modest, but let it turn into 35 degrees, man. She be going to the beach with a thong, man. And you gonna get your emotions hurt because you never expected that from her. Man, you should expect that, man. You should expect her to go topless on the beach, man, when you're not there. If you expect that and you feel numb to that shit, then you feel numb. Do what you want, man. You already turned after Satan. So, of course you're gonna do what you want. Do what thou wilt. You see? Of course you're gonna do that, man. And when you know that she's gonna do what she wants, then hey, you have more peace for your soul. Because whatever righteousness these females do possess is gonna be fulfilled in the kingdom, man. For now, they are like dumb sheep running down a ditch, man. Thinking, yeah, because everyone does it, I can do it too. Okay? And Esau gave them the allowance to do so. We decide if men are bashing you down for walking around like a whore, we're gonna tell the men that they are off, man. You see? That's what they push. That's why they now say like you are homophobe. You were scared of homosexuals? No. Fuck. What the hell are you talking about?
This is reverse psychology.
That's reverse psychology, man. I'm not scared. I freaking despise them, man. I despise them with vehemently I despise them. Which vehemently means with an intense manner. Why is that? Because the Most High does that with an intense manner. Be perfect like your Father which is in heaven. So we despise them utterly. Okay? For their cruel and filthy behavior. Abuses of mankind. Give me Lamentations 2 and 19.
It's Lamentations chapter 2 and verse 19. Arise, cry out in the night.
Yeah, man. So we are risen up. We are standing. We are crying out in the night. We are in the night time. Okay? Because the day is past and we are now in the night. Read on.
In the beginning of the watches, pour out thy heart like water before the face of the Lord. Lift up thy hands towards him for the life of thy young children that faint for hunger in the top of every street.
Yeah, man. So we are crying out in the night, man. Because when the night is finished, that is when the third day arises. Okay? And we are going to live in the sight of the Most High. We're going to be in the kingdom, man. You see? When that light starts to shine, that's when the kingdom arrives, man. Okay? And from what side does the sun come up? And where is the sun of the Most High is going to come from? Exactly. So when that sun comes up, man, when the sun comes up, that's when we know we in the kingdom, man. You see? So we're waiting for the return of the sun. And not the sun that the planet, the so-called, but the Son of the Most High, man. Yeah?
This is Jeremiah 25 verse 4. And the Lord had sent unto you all his servants the prophets, rising early and sending them, but ye have not hearkened, nor inclined your ear to hear.
Yeah, break it down.
Yeah, man, so like the brother is going into, we're now in the night. So we are in the beginning of the third day.
Put up your thumb, you don't know what you're putting up your tongue.
Thumb's gonna be cut off.
that same tongue. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, man. So we are, if it says the prophets are sent early, it doesn't mean that we are standing here 3 o'clock at night physically. No, man. It means that we are standing here before the destruction, like the brother was going into. When is the destruction going to come? When Yahushua appears. You know, when that twilight, that twinkling comes, that's when the destruction of Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to be here upon earth. Can you get that in...
Wil jullie drinken?
Ik heb ja, iets kouds, gewoon een vitamin-achtige water. The thing that,
It's koud, it's koud.
cactus drink or something.
Tawada.
Yeah, man. So when Yahushua comes, then that's when the judgment comes. So the Most High, He sends His prophets early before the time of the destruction, before that everything that is prophesied is going to happen. So we are now in the dark. We are now entering into the third day, actually. You see? 2 Peter 3, hastening the time. Yeah. I'll get the one on fire. Let me see. 2 Peter 3. Yeah, so here, the second death. And lake of fire. Because that's why we are standing here right now. We are standing here to bring our people back to repentance, to call them out to return to their heritage, which is knowing that they're Hebrew Israelites and that the Most High, the creator of everything, is our power, you know, and that we look like Him, you know, like it says in the book of Daniel, you know, it's Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, He sitteth upon the throne with white woolly hair and a white garment, you see? So we are those people. So we are trying to shake that dust off you, that confusion off of you. You know, if you can get that in Daniel. With the confusion, that many that wake up out of this confusion. Daniel 12. Yeah, man. So we are trying to get that dust out of your eyes and show you that you have to come to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua in order for you to make it through that second death, through that judgment that is going to come, through the ICBM missiles. See? Because this is the pending judgment of the Most High. This is the pending judgment of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua for all the atrocities that are being committed here upon earth. You see? And also second Ezra's with the wickedness exceeding the earth.
This 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise.
See, that's also beautiful, man. The day of the Most High is going to come as a thief in the night, and we are now in the night. We are going into in the twilight, into the daytime. You know, so you don't know when Yahushua is going to come. You know, this parable shows you that you don't know which time Yahushua is going to come, so you have to be alert. You have to be circumspect continually, and that is what we do upon our watch. You know, the Spirit supped with us. The Most High, He breathed that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding into us, just like we were reading in Ezekiel 37. And we are now watchmen. We understand this, so we prophesy what we understand. So that's why you have to learn and you got to teach. You know, if you know something and if you don't warn the people, give me that in Ezekiel 3. Ezekiel 3 and 1. If you don't warn the people, then you are also a partaker of His judgment. That His blood is going to be upon your hands. So now you understand this, right? Now you have the wisdom, knowledge, understanding of the Most High. So what are you going to do with it? You have to speak about it. You have to teach people, you see, according to your measure. If you have been given a little measure, you know, then you work with that. But if you are capable of doing more and giving more, because the Most High is not going to give you more that you can handle. So if you are capable of doing more, then you should go for that. You see?
Ezekiel?
Yeah, but was it under the clock?
No, it wasn't. Should I read again?
Yeah.
But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up.
Yeah, man. So this is gonna be the refreshing of the earth, like we're going into. The earth is not gonna be completely destroyed, like we just read in Ecclesiastes 1 and 4. The earth abided forever, but the earth was already destroyed once. How? It was destroyed by water in the time of Noah. You know, when Noah was the righteous seed. You see? So now the earth is gonna be destroyed for a second time, but not by water, but by fire. And that fire is gonna be that cleansing agent, you know, for all the wickedness here upon earth.
2 Thessalonians chapter 1, starting at verse 7. And to you who are troubled, rest with us when the Lord Yahushua shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels, in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not the Most High, and that obey not the gospel of our Lord Yahushua.
Yeah, man. So, like the scripture is gonna say in 2 Peter 3, it also says that this judgment is for ungodly men. You know, men that don't know Yahushua, men that don't know the way of Yahushua. They are gonna be judged in this time. You know.
Who shall be punished with everlasting destruction from the presence of the Lord and from the glory of his power.
Daar heb ik een vraag gesteld. Ja.
Maar maakt dat enig verschil?
Kijk, als...
Maakt dat enig, doet er dat met?
Nee, kijk,
of je nou zwart of wit is?
Oké, je hebt me een vraag gesteld, dus nu ga ik het beantwoorden. Kijk, als jij dan, je vader is vermoord door een Chinese man. Een lange Chinese man, hij is 2 meter. De politie komt je vragen van ja, wat is er gebeurd? Nou, dit is de persoon die het gedaan heeft. Het is een Chinese man van 2 meter lang, heeft sluikhaar en heeft een bril op. Oké, kunnen jullie een opsporingsverzoek voor hem zetten op televisie? Dus nu komt het programma op televisie. En wat zie je? Je ziet dan een islamitische man van 1,50 meter die krullend haar heeft, zonder bril. Dan ga je boos worden, ga je zeggen van ja, maar dat is niet, that's not the way that I described him. I described him a certain way. This is the man, this is the truth. So what we are doing, ik weet niet als je kunt Engels verstaan?
Ja, maar liever
Oké, liever Nederlands. Dus wat wij doen is nu deze leugen wat verspreid is, dat zijn we nu aan het rechttrekken.
Ja,
Met wat er precies in de Bijbel staat. Dus dat voorbeeld wat ik gaf van uw vader is vermoord door iemand die u heeft gezegd van ja, hij ziet er zo uit, hij ziet eruit als een
hoe weet
Chinees.
jij dat hij er zo uitziet dan?
Omdat ik de Bijbel lees. Wij lezen de Bijbel. Dit is wat er in de Bijbel staat. Revelations. Wij aanbidden dit niet. Maar dit is gewoon een voorbeeld zodat je weet van dit wat hier vertoond wordt. Dit is niet de waarheid. Dit berust niet op de waarheid. Dit berust op een leugen.
Maar als je naar die 2 beelden kijkt, hè,
Ja.
dan kom ik liever tot deze tegen dan die andere.
Ja, dat snap ik. Dat snap ik. Want die andere, we zijn nu aan het vertellen wat hij gaat doen. Als hij komt, hij gaat
Maar
niet
hij
met.
heeft
Hij gaat niet.
zwart
Ja, kijk, ik ben niks van het uitleggen. Dus als hij komt niet met, hoe noem je dat, regenbogen en lollipops van ja, homofielen mogen gewoon blijven bestaan. Als je de Bijbel leest, staat er van een homofiel die moet gestenigd worden. Dus hij is boos op wat er hier nu op aarde gebeurt. Maar wat er nu verteld wordt is dat ja, Jezus is alleen maar liefde. Je mag gewoon homoseksuele dingen doen met man en zo. Maar terwijl de Bijbel anders vertelt. Dus wij zijn nu dit aan het gewoon die leugens zijn we aan het breken. Want mensen hebben dan niet het begrip van de Bijbel. Want als je naar een kerk gaat, de kerk die legt je bijna niks uit.
Wat is daar allemaal het belang van? Wat wil je nou eigenlijk bereiken dan? Wat is volgens jou de kern van de religie?
Ja, de kern ervan is wat ik nu uitleg. Gewoon die leugen breken, weghalen en dan de waarheid verkondigen. Dat is het enige wat we doen. En de rest gaat de Most High doen. Weet je? De mensen die het moeten horen, die gaan het horen. En de mensen die het horen en niet ermee eens zijn, nou, dan komt zijn zoon en die zegt van, can you give me Luke 17? Want je gaf aan van, je komt liever deze man tegen dan die andere.
Ja, niet omdat hij wit is hoor, maar dit
nee,
is
maar ik weet het.
wel
Maar
een angstaanjagende figuur.
ja, precies. Maar de Bijbel praat over angstaanjagende dingen. De Bijbel praat over cannibalisme. De Bijbel praat over
Ja, maar
voedsel.
dan heb je echt het wezen van religie niet begrepen.
Nee, het gaat niet daarom, het gaat om...
Begrijp je helemaal niks van
Religie, weet je wat religie betekent? Het woord, als je in de etymology van het woord religie...
Verbinden.
Ja, te binden, vast te binden. Maar dit is geen
Niet vast
religie.
te binden, verbinden.
Nee, ja.
Mensen verbinden aan elkaar. En verbinden, zeg maar, van de mens met God in deze. Dat gaat het om.
Ja, als je naar de Atom Online gaat ervan, dan staat er to refrain, to restrain. Ook te binden door te ketenen. Het is net government, het woord government. Weet je wat dat betekent? Dat betekent ook dat
Sorry jongens,
government goes into the
Kijk,
governing of the world.
religie kan het mooiste zijn wat er is.
Maar wij prediken geen
jullie
religie.
verkrachten het gewoon
Nee, wij
allemaal.
prediken geen
je
religie.
verkracht het.
Ja, volgens
Je
u.
maakt
Volgens u, want
religie,
jij wilt
je
niet de Bijbel
besmeurt,
lezen.
je
Je
besmeurt,
wil de Bijbel niet lezen.
je
Je wil
besmeurt
gewoon
wat
iets
religie
wat
is.
jij denkt, dat wil jij
Nee,
verkondigen. Dan moet jij dan op
Jongen,
straat
je
gaan staan.
begrijpt niks van
Jij
religie.
begrijpt er niks van.
Je begrijpt
Jij
niks
begrijpt niet
ervan.
wat in de
Echt
Bijbel
niks.
staat.
Je begrijpt er echt niks
This
van.
is Matthew chapter 10, verse 34. Think not that I'm come to send peace on earth.
But a sword.
I came not to send peace, but a sword.
Begrijp dat. Oké. 17, right? Yeah. And was it 19? So this guy, he doesn't want Yahushai to look like this, right? So that's what this old head he wants. He wants this guy. He prefers him not because he's white, no, but he is just scared of this man.
He should be, because he a flamer.
Yeah.
He a flamer.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
That's why I was laughing when you said, you know, these people gotta be stoned. It was like, that's you.
Cut him to the heart. What did I say? Luke 19. So he says, it says 17. This is Luke?
Yeah.
19. 27.
This is Luke chapter 19 and verse 27. But those mine enemies, which would not that I should reign over them.
That this man that looks like this, you know, we don't worship this, but the Yahushua, his image, is similar to this. So the man, the people, the nation that doesn't want him to rule over them, what should happen to them?
And slay them before me.
Bring them hither and slay them before me. You see? So Yahushua is not a man of love. Yeah, he loves his people, but these other nations are like spittle. If you want to act like the other nation also, then you are going to be slayed also. You see? Look at the next one. Did you have another precept?
Yeah,
On what we were going with? What are we going to do? Oh yeah.
This Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 1. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest, eat this roll, and go speak unto the house of Israel.
Yeah, man, so that's what we're doing right now. We're to eat the roll means to read the Bible and understand it, to consume it. You see?
This is 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds. And these strongholds go into these philosophies, these lies that are being put up by our enemies. So what we're doing is, through the Spirit and power of Yahweh and Yahushai, we're tearing down these lies and we're exposing the truth. Verse 5, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of the Most High, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahushai. You see, so we're casting down these things that are being set up by our enemies, man, and trying to bring those back to the knowledge of the truth.
Because now that we have this wisdom, knowledge, understanding, these people, they're also being cut, man. He's standing here, it's like, no, what does it matter what he looks like? And of course it matters, man. You have to speak the truth. You have to prophesy. That's why we're standing here, you know, for our people to wake up. It's not about you. You are gonna you're gonna hear your judgment, and you're gonna be scared. You're gonna run off. But it's gonna get you. The judgment of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua is still gonna get you. Now you've heard it, and you're gonna wake up sweaty every day, and be like, is this the day? Is this the time that what that man said at Belmer, that his God, his power is gonna come and take this from me?
This is Yahushua himself speaking, and it says, John chapter 7, verse 38, "He that believeth on me, as the scripture hath said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water."
Yeah, man. So he that believeth on me, as the scriptures has said. Revelation 1 describes how he looks like. We go into the deeper breakdowns of the scriptures. You know, these pastors at the church, Joel Osteen, doesn't tell you those things. You know, so out of a man that uses the description of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua, out of his mouth is going to come, out of his belly is going to come rivers of living water, which that rivers of living water represents also his truth, which represents the scriptures. You see? So these other people, they don't have that knowledge of the Most High.
Ezekiel chapter 33 and verse 1. Again, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon the land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast, and set him for their watchman, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head.
Yeah, man. So now, like we are going into Ezekiel 37, we have that breath entered into us, the wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and now we're standing here boldly prophesying what is going to happen, because you have been given this mystery, which these other people don't know. So now, you as a watchman, you have to show these people, like, this is the sword that is going to come to this earth. You know, we read that Noah, in his time, the earth was overflooded by water, and now it's going to be consumed by fire. So now we know that the sword is coming. So you as a watchman, you have to stand upon your feet and prophesy and warn these people. You know, because if you go into that word prophesy, pro means is before, and prophesy is to say.
It's Colossians chapter 1 and verse 26. Even the mystery which has been hid from ages and from generations, but now is made manifest to his saints, to whom the Most High would make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles, which is the Yahweh Shai in you, the hope of glory, when we preach, warning every man and teaching every man in all wisdom, that we may present every man perfect, the Yahweh Shai.
See, that's why we're doing this. We're doing this for the perfecting of the saints, as it says in Ephesians 4. You know, in this word, you are being perfected day by day. You are being cleansed by this word, by this water, and now it's unto you that you do the same to the saints, the rest of the saints. So what you understand, your portion, you give it to the other saints. You know, if you have been given the portion of to understand Hebrew, then you study that and then you give it back. You know, if you have been given the portion to come with inspiring videos or movies or motivational
Yeah, it doesn't exempt you, right?
no, I'm talking about Manat. But I saw that talent, I'm like, I like that. Let me just try it. So yeah, man, you got certain things, just keep digging. You can always do better, you know? Don't be content with, okay, I can do this, okay, that's it. No, try to do better according to your amount, to your capability, you see? So we are doing this, what was it?
Colossians 1.
Yeah, man, so we have been given this mystery, and you are consuming it, you are consuming the role, and you are consuming this wisdom, and now you can teach others, because you yourself understand. that's also how you can test if you understand something. If you can teach it, if you can reteach it, that means that you understand it. You know? So that's what we're doing when we're
Explain it. Yeah, if you can explain it.
so if you can explain it good from different angles, that means then you understand it.
I've met 25 concerning multiplying the talents. One second, that was 15 concerning the good business of the Lord.
Let him finish this first. Had je al tot 6 gelezen?
Verse 5. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning, his blood shall be upon him. But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. But if the watchman see the sword come, and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come, and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will require at the watchman's hand.
Yeah, man. So do you want that? So if somebody perishes that you could have warned and helped, his blood is going to be upon your hands. Do you want that? No, man. So you got to get the blood off your hand, go into the highways and byways and preach what you do understand. That's one of the scriptures that this brother pulled on me. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, I understand it, but you know, so he always put that fear of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua in me, and that sparks, that puts you in movement, man. You know, like it says in Revelation 3 and 15. Yeah.
This is Revelation chapter 3.
You can't be wishy-washy, iffy. No, man, you gotta be either hot or cold. And what gets you in that hot seat? The fear of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. That's gonna put some fire underneath your ass, man.
This Revelation chapter 3 and verse 15. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou were cold or hot. So then because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth.
Dit is van mij. Dit is van mij. Zo snap je even.
No, but just double check it.
Waarom zou ik mijn daar niet zetten?
That's
Makes no sense.
so. The Most High, He wants you either to be hot or cold. You can't be in the middle, because if you're in the middle, then you're going to be split through the middle. Man. You're not a fervent servant of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua.
You know what happens when you're a skateboarder and you're about to go off the ramp, but you kind of doubt whether you should do it. What happens to you? You fall, man. Did you see that video of the BMX rider? He goes off the ramp and then he does a backflip, but he doubts, and then he lands on his neck and his feet slam next to his head. When you do things with doubt, me boy, you're gonna get slam dunked by demons or angels.
Yeah. That's why that's also one of the most powerful tools that Satan can use, doubt. Put doubt into your mind, and then it's like, oh, if you doubt. I also had a dream about that, man, that I was running from, I don't know who it was, I was in a castle, and I had to jump. I had to jump from a tower. Going back to the, like you were reading Ezekiel 3 and Ezekiel 33, watchman in the tower. So now, I have to run, escape these people, and I have to jump. But now I saw, what was it? No, I was telling my wife, hey, we gotta jump. She's like, no, you can't jump. I'm like, no, I have to jump because that's the only way. So I jumped, and when she came to look across the castle, across the edge, then she saw me there laying dead. You know, so that's what the dream that I had. And then now, when I get out of that dream, it's like, oh, Satan wants to put doubt in my mind. Like, hey, that certain things, you're gonna die. You shouldn't be pushing it too far. So that's when I made a video about the spirit of doubt. Don't let that get you off track.
I had a similar dream, actually not a similar dream, but also concerning doubt. I was walking here on the marketplace and there was a guy with a shotgun who was just blasting people. And I was walking, I was looking at him and I was like, it's not gonna do me anything, right? So I was just walking. Then I came around close to this corner and I started to doubt. I have to walk a little bit faster. And the moment I started to doubt, he saw me and then he came for me. He started running towards me. Yo, I started running. I had to hide left and right, man. I hide in the bushes. He came with this muscle car and he was just, he had this shotgun out of the window, man. He was ready to pop me, man. You know? And I had to run throughout the whole dream, and that all happened because for 1 minute I doubted, man. And then it came to me. But when I was walking confident, he was shooting people. People was dying left and right, and he was like, he didn't even see me. So, but the moment I started to doubt, he came for me, man. He left everyone else.
Yeah. And that's also beautiful that you use that word confidence, because if you go into that word, confidence comes from confidere, which con is with and fidere is trust. So you have to trust, walk with confidence in the sight of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Psalms 91, starting at verse 5. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flies by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee.
It's like with this C-19, you know, people were all shaken up by it, but there's a pestilence, by the way.
So let's talk about the missile.
Yeah, but the pestilence?
This is talking about the missile.
So the missiles, when they come also, you still have to have that confidence. You still have to walk.
Zechariah 14 and 3 or something.
You still have to walk with trust in the sight of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. See? So we have these holy scriptures to show us that the men that walked with trust in the sight of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, they all were delivered. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. We also have Elijah. You know, he had spiritual powers. He also had Samson, who had spiritual powers. You know, but in the end, he himself got destroyed for going off. But yeah, man, by reading the scriptures, it also builds up your confidence in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Can you give me this one? 2 and 10? Oh.
This is Sirach 2 and 10. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him?
None. All the men that walked in the sight of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, they were delivered. They have a good place with Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So in the like manner, we are also taking an example unto them, and we are walking in that same way, knowing that the end is going to be better than the beginning. You know, like with Job, he got what was it, 100-fold, 10-fold what he had, but it was multiplied. It was more than that he lost, basically. So everything that you lose on this side, you're gonna get even more on the other side, when the kingdom is here on earth.
This Philippians chapter 1 and verse 20. According to my earnest expectation and my hope, that in nothing I shall be ashamed, but that with all boldness, as always, so now also Yahushai shall be magnified in my body, whether it be by life or by death.
Yeah, man. So in all boldness we stand and do this, because of that spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is within us. You know, we have that spirit of prophecy, that spirit of Yahushai. We are warning the people of what is going to come. And if you go into that word earnest, it means a down payment by the Spirit. So now we have the Spirit, which is a down payment, and in the end, you're going to redeem it like a voucher. You know, in the end, when you stack up all these vouchers, then in the end, you're going to be able to redeem it. That's in the time of the kingdom. Then you are going to be given according to your works. You know, he that turned many to righteousness shall shine as the firmament of heaven. You see, so in the kingdom you also are going to have a rank system. It's not everybody's going to be beamed up and everybody's going to be on the same level. No, you're going to have Yahweh, then Yahushai, then King David, then the 12, and then you're going to have, according to rank, the 144,000 ruling.
So, this is Revelation chapter 22 and verse 12. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be.
Yeah, man, so these red letters, so this Yahushai speaking. When Yahushai comes, then he's going to have his reward with him. And Yahweh, whatever your works is, that's what you're going to redeem. You're going to redeem, you're going to get what your works are. If you were continually busy with the truth, trying to perfect the saints, trying to bring people to right marriage,
Turn many to righteousness.
then you are gonna get accordingly. But if you were iffy, wishy-washy, if you're wicked, then you're gonna receive wickedness also. Not wickedness, you're gonna get the judgment of the Most High. I think we should close it up because they were also yelling at us.
Read who? Yeah?
Yeah.
They always do that. And then they go on for more 30 more minutes.
I think the second Exodus 15.
Yeah, the other. So second Esdras, chapter 15. Moment to build it up, straight to the point.
Build it up.
This is second Esdras, chapter 15, and verse 5. Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction.
Yeah, man, so all these things are brewing. If you look into the news, then you see you have famines. Why? Because Esau, he's sabotaging all these communication lines and distribution lines, you know. So yesterday I saw a video about how he was destroying the baby powder, you know, the child formula. But then a couple of months back he said, we got to import from Russia because in America there's no baby formula. But now you see that they were stacking them up and now they're destroying them. So they're sabotaging this whole thing. So they're coming with an artificial famine, you know. And even if it's artificial, it's according to the will of Yahweh Shai, because he sees prophets are standing on their feet. He wants to brush it, you know. Revelation 12:12 says, what's it again?
For the devil has come down unto you with
Great wrath, because you know that he has short time. So he's like, hey, I gotta make these moves so that I can come with this seed so that I can have everybody in slavery. You know?
That goes back to what you said earlier, that the Most High uses Esau for his bidding. Even if these famines are artificial, it's still prophesied in the scriptures to happen.
Yeah.
Back in second Esdras?
Yeah. Wrap it up? Oh, I thought you said something. What did you say?
Read it. I said read it. Revelation 12:12.
Oh,
Don't
read it.
Don't paraphrase it. Read it.
It's Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them.
Oh, y'all.
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
Yeah, man. So the devil is speaking about the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. Because if you go into that word devil, we already explained it, but they don't know. Maybe somebody's watching right now. So the word devil goes into diablos, which is a calumniator, a false accuser, and a liar. So that's why we refer to this so-called white man, and we say so-called white because his biblical nationality is Esau, which means in the Hebrew it's Aishashwa, which Aishash is to consume, and the wa in the end is produced to him. So he is wasted away. What is wasted away? His pigment, his pigmentation, because everybody that was being born at that time had a pigmentation. They were of a darker complexion, but it was described in Genesis 25 how he looked. So that shows you that he's different. You see? So that's why Esau, so-called white man, is the devil, and he's coming with great wrath because he has but a short time. know, like we were going into. Also, he has been ruling for 2,000 years now. You know, since if you start with
Greeks, Romans.
He didn't rule 2,000 years.
Like
He's ruling for like 500 years now. And before that, it was like 180 BC was the Greek Empire, and up till 180. So that's 200 years. So
that's even shorter. Yeah, that's
not close to 2,000 years.
So he knows he has a short time, so he wants to do everything that he can, you know, to bring his ultimate mastermind, master plan idea into fruition. But the Most High is gonna rain on him, and he's gonna eat, like it says in Job 20. So he knows he has a short time, and he wants to rush everything. So that's why he's also making artificial famines, and he's breaking down all these things that you see, man. All these things that you see, the forest fires. You know, we don't have evidence that it's him, but he can also be the one that is doing those things. Because I saw dew, which is it's a laser actually. I forget what the name dew actually means.
Direct energy weapon.
Yeah, direct energy weapon, and those are lasers that are on satellites or on planes that can shoot a beam straight onto one point and coordinate. So if he points it in the forest, then he can start a forest fire just like that. And that's what they use in the army.
It's funny that you mention it because back in the days you had this James Bond movie. I think it's called Die Another Day or something with Pierce Brosnan. And there they showed you that they had a satellite that was able to really put a laser upon the Earth. So that's the predictive programming that they be using.
And often these things, what they show in movies,
they snitch themselves. They show you their fantasies, but they already have it.
yeah,
Like FaceTime. FaceTime.
Yeah,
That was what we used to watch. How you call that? Futuristic movies, and they would call with each other and see each other. That was not normal. Look at this. Look at us now, man. We alive. Everyone sees us at the moment. If a fight breaks out, everyone will know. You know, it wouldn't be able to cut it out. You see? FaceTime. I can FaceTime with the brother from Australia. Man. He's on the other side of the world. It's like, yo, that's maybe a 24-hour flight, man. You know?
also holograms, because now you see a lot more artists, they use holograms because they couldn't, because of the C19 have given shows or whatnot, so they project themselves, and those are all futuristic things that we would see in movies. But now, you know, they show you that they had the technology back then, and now is when they come up with it. Yeah, man, so all these things have to happen. Give me the Exodus first.
It's Exodus chapter 9 and verse 14. For I will at this time send all my plagues upon thy heart, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, that thou mayest know that there is none like me in all the earth.
Yeah, man, so Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, he's sending plagues upon the earth so that he can redeem and help the people that do his work, that do his bidding. Like it says in Isaiah 65, you know, when there is a famine upon earth, the servants are going to eat. But the people that wouldn't listen to the servants, they are going to reap what they sow, basically. They're going to eat from their own imagination, like it says also in Proverbs.
Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 12. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spake, ye did not hear. But did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not.
Yeah, man, so the servants, the prophets, they're standing here, they're explaining to you what's the will of the Most High, according to the Bible, not according unto religion. Yeah, actually, like Apostle Paul said, the Most High did give us a religion. because we are bound to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, but according to truth, not like how this bundle of sticks was standing here like, no, I want the other image with the white Jesus, you know, I like him better. No.
Who said that?
There was this,
Yeah?
So we
Because Cesare Boucher is a white man also, that's why you like it.
You look soft.
Soft-spoken dude
with long hair.
with long hair.
So the man was standing here, so I didn't want to give him that, so now he's gone. The Most High did give us religion. We are bound to the Most High. The Most High first was our husband, and then now we have to go to Yahushai, and Yahushai, we are going to be his bride, and he's going to be our bridegroom. So we are going to be joined unto Yahushai, and then we're going to be joined unto the Most High like that, because he is in the same mind. He is our advocate. So, but that guy didn't need to hear it, but y'all, you know, the saints need to understand.
Yeah.
Just wait. Oh yeah.
Isaiah chapter 65, verse 13.
Yeah.
Therefore, thus said the Lord Yahweh power, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit.
Yeah, so we have that undeniable faith and confidence that we are going to be the servants in the last days that are not going to hunger, that are going to laugh at these people when they fall dead left and right. You know, because like it also says in Sirach 39, you know, famine, those were created for the wicked. The righteous, they don't die by famine. You see? So all these precepts, all these things is what's keeping us going and what is our hope, you know, of immortality, which is in Yahushua. So yeah, man, with that, we hope this video has been edifying, and we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto
Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham, Rakakadash.
Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us the truth and who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the Akim that is spread around the four corners of the earth, spreading this word with sincerity and in truth. Shalom.
Shalom.